Morning students, how are you all? Hope you are fine with the grace of the Almighty God. Students, as you know that I have started the revision of the chapters. So today I will revise with chapter 18 and our topic of the chapter is Freedom of India. As you know that my revision is already been started and today I'll show one short animation from related to this chapter which will help you to understand the chapter clearly. It will just give you a concept. After that, I will also explain it. So without wasting time, let's start and see the video. On your screen, you can see the video here.
The first struggle for freedom. Many years ago, India was very rich and had trade relations with many countries. India was famous for spices, calico, silk, gold, silver, and many more things. Arabs were the first to come to India for trade. They took things from India and sold them to the Europeans. Later, the Portuguese, Dutch, French, and English people came to India for trade. All of them wanted to get monopoly rights of trade. Hence, they fought among themselves to achieve the rights. Finally, the English became successful and received the monopoly rights of trade. They established the East India Company in 1600 CE, and gradually they became very powerful. The British conquest. After developing trade, the British wanted to get full hold on India. Soon after the death of the Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb in 1707, the Mughal power declined, and the British and the French started the struggle for their control over India. But the power went in the hands of the British. They took the advantage of disunity among the Indian kings. The British defeated them and captured India. The British ruled India according to their will. They only thought of their profits. They wanted Indians to use their goods. They did not pay attention to improve the lives of Indians. They took the advantage of disunity among the Indian kings. The British defeated them and captured India. The British ruled India according to their will. They only thought of their profits. They wanted Indians to use their goods. They did not pay attention to improve the lives of Indians. They forced Indian farmers to grow indigo. The farmers were forced to sell the indigo to the British at very low prices. The farmers had no food grains to eat, and they became very poor. The British forced the weavers to sell their cloth to them at very low prices. The weavers became unhappy as they had to live their lives in poverty. The rulers, kings, and nawabs were also very unhappy. They had lost their power. The British made very unjust laws. Meanwhile, the British did not allow Indians to set up mills and factories of their choice. Instead, they established cotton textile mills in England. For the cotton mills, they purchased raw cotton from India at a very low price, and in return, they brought milk cloth to India. They forced Indians to buy these milk cloth at a higher price. As a result, our handloom industry suffered badly. All these caused ill feelings in the hearts of the Indians, and they became dissatisfied with the British rule. Many uprisings occurred in various parts of the country between 1816 and 1857, like the armed rebellion in 1824 by Queen of Kittur, Rani Chennamma. But these were not a collective effort.
So students, I hope that this is a very short animation. So it will just give you the concept. So next, let's start the story time first. The story time will be read by Urvi Kolita. I'll just allow you to read now. Urvi, you read the story time.
Chapter 18 Freedom of India. Formation of the INC. The exploitative policies of the British made the educated Indians realize that there was a need to unite India. The feeling of nationalism had already spread and people started agitating against the foreign rule. This resulted in the formation of the Indian National Congress in 1885. The INC was formed by A.O. Yume on 28 December 1885 at Gokuldas Tejpal Sanskrit College in Mumbai. It was created so that the educated Indians could initiate a political dialogue with the British and also convey the demands of millions of Indians. W.C. Banerjee was elected as the president and A.O. Hume acted as the general secretary. The first session of the Congress was attended by 72 delegates from different parts of India. Let us learn more about the INC.
So as we studied the story time, as we did the story time, already I have explained you. And if you did not understand, please watch the explanation again. If you have doubt, then again you can ask. I will explain it again. So students, today again I'm going to start the reading. I will give to read to leaders of the Congress. This it will be read by Muhammad Imran. Muhammad Imran, you read.
Okay, sir. Leaders of the Congress. The sessions of the INC were held every year. Some of the Congress presidents who presided over the meetings of the INC were eminent people like Dadabhai Nauroji, Gopal Krishna Gokhale, and S.N. Banerjee. Badruddin Tayabji and Firoz Shah Mehta were other prominent leaders of Congress at that time. These leaders had a moderate outlook. They believed that reforms would take place gradually and that the British sense of justice would prevail. The INC also demanded policies that were beneficial for Indians, provided jobs to Indians in the British Indian government, and made sure that Indians enjoyed better living conditions. However, the peaceful approach of these leaders failed as the British were not willing to pay any heed to them. They kept exploiting the Indian masses. This brought forth a new group of leaders in the Congress, leaders such as Bal Gangadhar Tilak, Bipin Chandra Pal, and Lala Lajpat Rai, who felt the need to involve the common people of India in the freedom struggle. Tilak demanded self-rule for the Indians and said, "Swaraj is my birthright and I shall have it." These leaders were called extremists. Spirit of nationalism.
So next,
Partition of
spirit of nationalism. Mehak Hawk, you read. So now Israt, you read.
Yes, sir. Spirit of nationalism, partition of Bengal. The feeling of nationalism was strengthening in India. This became a source of anxiety for the British and they adopted the policy of divide and rule. On 20 July 1905, the partition of Bengal was announced by Lord Curzon, the Viceroy of India at that time. One part of Bengal was to have Muslims in a majority and the other was to have a Hindu majority. This was done so that the unity among the Hindus and the Muslims could be broken. Swadeshi and boycott. Indian people were not happy with the British. After the partition of Bengal, the INC launched the Swadeshi and boycott movement. People were asked to boycott goods made in Britain and buy goods which were made in their own country. Bonfires of British goods, especially clothes, were held in several parts of India. The movement spread from Bengal to other parts of the country like Pune, Mumbai, and Chennai. A large number of college women participated in this movement. The British tried their best to crush the movement by marshalling, beating the protesters. Finally, the British reunited Bengal in 1911 because of the continued protest against this unfair partition. Revolutionaries. Revolutionaries were people who believed that the British rulers should be treated.
Sadi, do you read? Read.
Revolution- Revolutionaries. Revolutionaries were people who believed that the British rulers should be treated in the same way in which they treated the Indians. They believed that the British could be driven away by using force. They were ready to sacrifice their lives for their motherland. They killed many British officers. However, most of the revolutionaries' leaders were punished severely and even put to death. Some of the prominent revolutionaries were Bhagat Singh, Rajguru Udham Singh, Khudiram Bose, Veer Savarkar, Sukhdev, Aurobindo Ghosh, Chandra, Chandra, Chandrasekhar, Chand, Chandrasekhar Azad, Master, Masterda Surya Sen, Batukeshwar Datta, and Ajit Singh. Gandhiji's childhood. Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi was born on 2 October in 1969 in Poribandar, Gujarat. As a child, Gandhiji was very shy and avoided the company of his classmates. He was an average student. Gandhiji's books and lessons were his sole companions. He never lied either to his teachers or to his schoolmates. Gandhiji was deeply inspired by the stories of Sharvan and Raja Harichandra. When Gandhiji was in high school, Mr. Giles, the education inspector, had come for an inspection during the exams. He asked the students to write 5 words as a spelling exercise. One of the words is kettle, and Gandhiji had misspelled it. His teacher promoted Gandhiji to copy the spelling from his neighbor's slate, but Gandhiji did not do so. Everyone got the spellings correct except Gandhiji. First World War. When the First World War broke out in 1914, many Indian soldiers were sent along with the British soldiers to fight the war. In addition, the British government imposed heavy taxation on the Indians to recover the losses incurred during the World War. The British continued with their strategy of divide and rule based on religious lines. This led to the formation of the Muslim League in 1906. The
Now, Rukshanara will read. Rukshanara, you read.
The coming of Mahatma. After his university education, Gandhiji went to London to train as a barrister. After his training, he went to South Africa to work in a law firm. Gandhiji was surprised to the treatment of the black people at the hand of the minority white population. He stayed in South Africa.
So now, this one, Rukshanara will not read. Urvi, you read. from the coming of the
The
Mahatma.
coming of the Mahatma. After his university education, Gandhiji went to London to train as a barrister. After his training, he went to South Africa to work in a law firm. Gandhiji was surprised to see the treatment of the black people at the hand of the minority white population. He stayed in South Africa for almost 20 years and was sent to prison many times. He protested against the domination of the whites and fought for the basic rights of the blacks, including some Indian immigrants. Gandhiji returned to India in 1915. He came back and went around the country to see the conditions that the common people of India were facing. He encouraged the people to fight the British through satyagraha, devotion to truth, and ahimsa, non-violence. He traveled to various parts of India and realized that the society was divided on the basis of caste system. There was poverty, illiteracy, untouchability, and the people were being exploited by the British. Gandhiji realized that in order to gain independence from the British, it was important to unite the Indians. He enjoyed tremendous following among the common Indians as millions from various sections of the society joined his cause. He strongly opposed social evils such as untouchability. Khilafat movement. This movement was started initially by Muslim leaders against the British following the events of the First World War. The British before the war had promised the Muslims that the power of the Sultan of Turkey will not be taken away after the war, so that they would support them during the war. But after the war ended, they broke their promise. In the First World War, Turkey had fought against the British, and the Sultan of Turkey was the Caliph, or the supreme religious leader of all Muslims in the world. So when the British went back on their word, the Muslims were really angry with them and began the Khilafat movement. Jallianwala Bagh. In 1990, the British passed a new law called the Rowlatt Act. Under this, any person could be arrested and imprisoned without a trial. Gandhiji and other Congress leaders asked the people to oppose the law and hold meetings and demonstrations. On 13 April 1919, a peaceful public meeting was organized in the Jallianwala Bagh in Amritsar. Thousands of men, women, and children attended the meeting. General Dyer blocked the only exit of the park and asked his troops to open fire at the crowd. Thousands were killed, including women and children. The country was shocked, and Gandhiji concluded that India should demand complete independence or Purna Swaraj, non-cooperation movement. Gandhiji launched the non-cooperation movement in 1920. He asked the people of India not to work in government offices, resign from their jobs, law firms, schools, colleges, and boycott all British goods. Gandhiji believed in peace, non-violence protests. The struggle for independence was gaining momentum and mass support. But in 1922, at Chauri Chaura in Uttar Pradesh, an angry mob set fire to a police station, and 22 policemen lost their lives. Gandhiji was deeply disturbed by the violent turn of the movement and decided to call it off.
Okay.
Time and submission.
Okay. So students, as your time is now up, so I hope that You will study properly in home. Your exams are coming very close to you. If you have doubt or something, then you can say me. This chapter will be again explained, okay? Because it is not over. We will do the revision of the chapter in the next class. Till then, take care. Thank you. Bye bye.